So today's rebuild takes us to Spain, where we're going to be taking control of a team I still consider to be one of the big clubs in Spain. But realistically, the last time they were really one of the big clubs was probably in the early 2000s. A couple of league titles, Champions League finishes. They were a good team, and to be fair, in the last few years, they've not been so good. But there have been a couple of fourth place finishes here and there amongst the 12th, 13th, 9th, 8th, places like that. But they're still considered to be one of the teams that jump into your head when you say who are the best teams in Spain. I always automatically go to them as one of the big 3 or 4, and realistically at the moment, they're not. So our task in this video is to turn them back to one of those contenders. We'll see if we can win the league. If we can't, it's not the end of the world, because there are some teams who are very good in this league who have a good chance of winning the title more than us. But the task is return us to the top 4, return us maybe to the top 3, see if we can usurp at least one of those big teams at the top and try and get this club back on track to former glories. And today's club, without any further ado, is Valencia. Hello there and welcome to Stubo FM. I'm Stu. Thank you for joining me in today's video, which is going to be a Valencia rebuild. Yes, we are going to be taking control of, again, one of the teams I still consider to be one of the big clubs in Spain. We're going to try and return them to former glories. We're going to aim for that league title, but if we don't win the league, it's absolutely fine. The aim is we get them into the top 4, we bring in some players that make it look like this team could compete for years to come and not just for 1 or 2 years. That is the plan. If you like that plan, please do leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss any lovely FM content from yours truly. We're just going to dive in, shall we? There are a couple of things I do need to point out. Thing number 1, the database that I have got isn't necessarily 100% up to date, so I have had to make a couple of changes. So, go to transfer history. We can see that Gonzalo Guedes has left the club. He hadn't left the club at the time of this database being released. I've not actually updated the database, but I have updated the transfer. So he has gone to Wolves for the fee that I could find. I could find it was £27.5 million or £35 million. So what I've done, I've put it as 27.5, and then there's a sell-on fee as there. So a sell-on fee in there as well. So they sell him, they make a profit, we get some of the profit. I just thought that was the fairest way to do it because I wasn't 100% sure quite how it would work. On top of that as well, Jasper Cillessen was here at the start of the game when I loaded it up. He has actually left for NEC, so we have moved him on for the £900,000 that was reported. We do also have a couple of loans as well. So Nico from Barcelona is here on loan. Couldn't find any fees for it, so I've just left it up to the game to decide what happens. And this guy as well, Cenk Ozkakar, or Ozkasar. Sorry, I've probably ruined it completely. He's coming from Lyon as well. Only a 2-star ability player. I can't imagine we're going to be using him too much. There was also the signing of, where is he? Duro. Hugo Duro had joined the club, but he has gone on loan to Getafe as well, so we won't be having him either. But all of that leaves us with a transfer budget of £28 million, there or thereabouts. It's not the biggest transfer budget in the world. It's not the smallest transfer budget. It's a lot more than what the club had to begin with. Now, I don't know what has actually happened in real life. Gonzalo Guedes' transfer, because of the club's retained revenue, I have given us the entirety of that transfer fee. I don't know whether that is realistically what would happen. Obviously, we've got 50% transfer revenue retained. I wanted us to actually have a decent amount of transfer budget in order to actually, you know, compete a little bit. So we've done that. If you don't like it, I do apologise, but I want to actually give us a chance to do something. If the transfer fee was too low, over one season, it's just not going to be that realistic. So we're going to see what we can do with £28 million. We're going to see if we can raise some more funds as well, because we do have quite a bit we need to do to this squad, if you ask me, in particular with the transfers that have happened in real life. So Cillessen would have been my starting goalkeeper. Obviously, we don't have one now. We need a goalkeeper. Central defence. We do have Gabriel Paulista and Diakabi. Is it Diakabi? I think it is, yeah. Diakabi. We've got those two. Both of them are wanted. I would happily move on Gabriel purely because he's the older of the two. I would like to keep Diakabi. If we can keep both of them, I won't be too sad, but I'd quite like to move Gabriel on because he actually has got a decent bit of value as well, up to £20 million. I would take 15 for him, if I'm being completely honest with you. I think that would be enough, and that would be enough to get someone else in as well. So if we could do that, that would be great. In terms of other players we're looking to move on, we'll do that first. Manu Vallejo, If we keep him, he'll be a decent player for us, but get £7.8 million. Again, get his £20,000 a week off the wage budget. I think we can bring someone else in who's going to be better. George Sainz, one of our central defenders, 24 years old. He's never going to be anything, really. So if we can move him on, I would be very, very happy. Jaime Dominic, he would be our #1 goalkeeper at the moment. So I did have him on the transfer list before I realised that Silerson has actually left the club. So I might be taking him off the transfer list, but if we can move him on, if we can bring someone else in, I would be very happy. And then we've got a couple of youngsters on loan as well. This kid I don't really know what to do with because he's only 2-star ability, but he's 4.5-star potential. He could be a decent player for us, so I might have a look and see whether we do want to hang on to him and maybe try and do something with him. If not, we'll send him out on loan. There are a few other players who are wanted as well. As I mentioned, both the centre-backs are. Jose Gaya, the club captain, is currently wanted by PSG. Carlos Soler, from our United save, ironically, wanted by Manchester United. And Maxi Gomez, currently our #1 striker, currently our only striker, is wanted by a bunch of clubs. And I would very much like to not let any of those guys go. I'd like to keep all 3 of them. The centre-backs, as I've said, I'd happily lose one of them, ideally Gabriel. But that's the squad. That's where we need the reinforcement. So at the moment, if we take Gabriel back out of the squad, a goalkeeper, a defender, 2 midfielders, 2 wingers, and a striker. In terms of the system, I've kind of gone to this. I've not set up the tactics yet. It's just on a basic gegenpress. You know the football I try and play. I like short passing. I like quick passing. I like high pressing. That's what I want to go with. So we are going to update that at some point. But that's the formation I think we're going to go with. Someone is the base of the midfield. I think Nico can do a decent job there. He could also do the job as a playmaker, to be honest. So we might actually change it so that this ends up becoming a deep line playmaker. We also might move Nico into the midfield so he can be a little bit active further forward, a little bit of bite in the further forward part of the midfield, and we get someone else in as that halfback, possibly. I haven't really decided yet, but I actually think this squad has got a lot of ability. So you can see, if we sort it by ability, there's a good few players, even without Guedes. Gomez, Soler, Gaya, Gabriel, Diakabi, all very, very good. In terms of potential, we've got a bunch of good players. Hugo Doro, ignore him because he's not at the club. But we've got Yunus Musa, the American. Samuel Linos on loan from Atletico. We've got Nico. We've got Line, who again is one of our youngsters. Randall Correa, one of our right backs. And all of the players who I've mentioned previously as well. We've got a decent amount of ability, decent amount of potential. But I think 1 or 2 good signings could push us over the edge. The club, I think, is slated to finish 7th. Yes, it is. 7th in the league is currently it. But it is tied with Bilbao, Betis and Sociedad. We want to be moving us up to this period here. These clubs near the top. We want to be trying to beat these guys if we can. I don't know whether we'll be able to. I think it is going to be a tough one because there are some very good teams at the top of this Spanish league. It's kind of like when you've got PSG in France. They're the big dogs that you've got to try and beat, and everyone else is everyone else. It's not quite to that extent. There's 3 or 4 teams at the top of this league who are going to be very, very difficult to unseat, but I do think we have got the makings of a team that can do that. We just need to find the players that we can bring in to actually achieve that goal. So, here's what's going to happen. You know the drill by now. I'm going to look through the transfer market. I'm going to look at players on the transfer list, on the loan list. I'm going to look at my scout reports. We are going to sign as many players as possible. And then we are going to get to the transfer deadline day. Can't speak. I'm so interested in what we're going to do with this. We're going to get through to transfer deadline day. We're going to see exactly what we can do between now and then. And just as deadline day passes, I'll bring you guys back, show you what we've done, show you how the first couple of games have gone. Then we'll accelerate to the halfway point, check in, and then go to the end of the season. So, wish me luck, because I feel like I'm going to need it, and I will see you when we've made all of those transfers. Transfer window done. We've spent a decent amount of money, as we normally do. We've not gone too crazy with this one, but I do think we have built a pretty good-looking side. And as the first 3 games of the season would indicate, we're doing pretty well, actually. We're currently joint top. We're 3rd, technically, over goal difference, but it's us, Sevilla, and Real Madrid who've won 3 out of 3 so far, so that's pretty good going, I would say. We did struggle on deadline day. We were trying to bring in 1 extra player. It just was not happening because we were trying to get a free loan. And while you can get free loans every now and then, they can be a challenge. They can also be a challenge when you maybe forget to tell a team that you want to use their player as a squad player instead of an important player, which was something that scuppered something at the very last moment. But I'm going to take you through the transfers and show you how we've improved the squad. So transfer number 1 was a goalkeeper. We needed one after Sillerson had left in the summer before we'd arrived. So Dominic Livakovich is in Croatian international, 25 caps for his country. I've never used him before, but I've always heard he's a good goalkeeper to go for. Most clubs, to be fair, didn't cost us a lot as well in the grand scheme of things. He cost us £11 million. Most of that, I'm not going to lie to you, is on instalments, but that doesn't really matter at the moment. For this season, he will do a job for us. I think he'll be a very solid goalkeeper. He's conceded 2 in the first 3, but it's only 2. We could have conceded a lot more, so I'll take it for now. He's definitely an upgrade on what we've got, so very happy with it. Next is Diego Lorenze from Leeds United. I forgot them for a second. We brought him in. A bit of experience at the back. He's obviously played for Real Madrid before. He's played for Vallecano, Malaga, Sociedad, obviously Leeds United in the Premier League as well. He did really well for Leeds, actually. We brought him in. He can offer cover at defensive midfield and across the back line as well, but he is going to be in the heart of that defence. And I think as a ball-playing defender, he'll do a really good job for us. I brought him in for, I think it's £22.5 million. It is indeed. It's a lot of money, but I think he's going to do a really good, solid job for us, and that's all I can ask, really. And I think he'll form a good partnership with Diakabi, because that is who his defensive partner is going to be. So, yeah, fingers crossed it'll be okay. Let's not talk about the fact he got sent off in his first game. Doesn't matter. Not going to hold it against him. Now, I know this is going back on transfers that we've already made in the past. However, I couldn't resist it. I saw him. I went for another couple of players. Belotti was on a free transfer. We couldn't get him. He went to Aston Villa of all places, which really smarts me a little bit, but we ended up going with Kasper Dolberg. Kasper Dolberg, we know, can do a job for us. He is a goal machine if given the chance, and he'll probably get the chance at some point. He's a different type of striker to Maxi Gomez as well. He's got the height. He's certainly decent in the air, but he is more of a proper advanced forward. He's quick, he's strongish, he's got a good finish, and he cost us £11 million. I ain't going to complain about that one bit. Then we signed Rodri. Now, this is very much we're going to sign a player who's good now, but it's going to get better later. This is a player, if we were going to do this long term, who is for the future. We signed him from Betis, where he's had a pretty good time of it over there. And he's already started really well for us. A couple of appearances. He's got a goal and an assist. What more can you ask for? He's done really well. He's going to keep getting better and better. He can play in the middle as well, which I didn't realise, as well as attacking midfield. I think it's a really solid signing for us. I think it's a sign of intent from the club, and I feel like he's going to just get better and better and better, and hopefully carry us to some good success this season. I almost forgot. Cost us £19.5 million. So on the pricey side, but I think he's going to be worth it. Then we signed this man, Nicolas Dominguez, Argentinian with 10 caps and a goal. Very happy with this one. At one point, it looked like he wasn't going to sign. I think Liverpool came in for him as well after we'd agreed a contract with him. So I genuinely thought at that point, he is not going to come to us. But then somehow, some way, our offer was good enough. We're paying him £60,000 a week, which for this club is quite a bit. It's kind of on the top end of the pay scale, I think. But he's coming. He's going to do a good job for us. I think he already has so far. He's already looked decent enough as the... we started off in the defensive midfield position, but we've since moved into the playmaker position. So hopefully the goals and assists may creep up. Certainly the assists is what I'm hoping for. But a solid player. £15 million. Again, probably half and half in terms of the split of current money and on installments as well. So I think he is going to be a very, very good signing for us. I think if we were going to do this save long term, we'd be fighting clubs off him. We'd be really desperately trying to keep him. So kind of glad we're only doing one season, really. But yeah, solid addition to the midfield. You know what I said about Kasper Dolberg in terms of reaching back for previous transfers? You could probably copy and paste that into Yanis Hadji. You guys know that I love this guy. I've used him at Aston Villa in FM21. I used him this year in West Ham. He is a solid midfield option. He doesn't necessarily look like it if you just look at his physicals and his mentals, but his technicals are, especially from set pieces. The man is a monster, an absolute monster. He's only 22 years old as well, so he's got that potential to go for. Only 3.5-star potential, but if he reaches that, that's a solid level for a player. That is definitely a solid level. He's technically at La Liga 2 level. It's fine. Don't worry about it. He's had one appearance so far off the bench, and he's looked good, to be fair. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay with bringing someone in who's maybe not quite at the quality, because if he gets enough game time, he will grow, he will develop, and he will be an option. We're going to try and get him into that centre midfield on attack position, because we know he can do a job there from the West Ham save, as well as attack midfield, which we haven't got at the moment. But if we change the system, you never know, could do a job there. I think he came on as a sub on this position here, and he did a good job. So I think he's going to be solid for us. £14.25 million. It's a bit more than I probably would have wanted to spend on him, if I'm being honest with you. But it's Giannis Hadji. You know I can't help myself when it comes to this man. Hopefully he proves me right, because if he doesn't now, I'm going to be very sad. But yeah, I think that's a good transfer personally, but I could be wrong. Speaking of good transfers, I think this guy's going to be absolutely superb for us. Nathan Nandez, I'm going to probably be pronouncing that wrong. I do apologise if I am. But a Uruguayan international with 41 caps at the age of 25. This man is an experienced boy, and he's going to do a good job for us. We're going to be having him sitting at the base of the midfield. Not necessarily as ball-winning midfielder. At the moment, he's playing there as a half-back. I would prefer him to stay as a half-back, but I am willing to give a ball-winning midfielder a go there. I mean, it's a ball-winning midfielder. It's going to do a decent job. But so far, he's only played a couple of games for us. He's looked solid enough. He's not necessarily looked brilliant, but he's looked solid enough. And I feel like he is going to be someone who is going to really help our midfield out. £16.5 million. I think that's money well spent. I think for a player of this quality, I think for us to get him in, I mean, his value has already gone up to £29 million. I think he is going to be really solid for us. And I do think we're lucky to get him. I'm surprised another club didn't sneak in for him, but I'm very glad that they didn't. Very glad indeed. And then the final signing over the line in the transfer window was Samuel Umtiti on deadline day with literally about 2 hours to go. Oh, we were negotiating quite a bit with Barcelona, along with a bunch of other clubs for defenders as well. It was really, really it was such a struggle. Eric Bailly looked like he was going to be the guy who was going to be joining us from Manchester United, and at the last moment, Atletico Madrid offered him a loan deal. Literally the same thing that we did. Exactly the same, and he chose them over us. So we're watching out for that game this season, that's for sure. But we've ended up going with Umtiti. We paid more of his wages than we want to, but we are only paying £35,000 a week for him. That, I think, is pretty good going. Hopefully, he'll be able to do a good job for us. We know he's a decent player. We absolutely do know that. We also know that he's out of favour at Barcelona. So hopefully, whatever issues there are there don't come out to bite us with the signing. But I can't foresee him being necessarily a starter unless he starts playing really well for us. I think we've got Lorenze and we've got Diakabi. I think they're going to be our central defensive partnership. But Umtiti on loan, I don't think that's a bad thing at all. He hasn't played for us because he's only just joined us, but I think he is going to be a very, very shrewd signing for us. I could be wrong on that as well, but 31 caps for France, 27 years old, all the experience he's got. How can that be a bad signing? In total, just counting the transfers that we've done, obviously nothing above the blue here, all of those transfers come to around about £110 million. So when I said I hadn't spent quite as much money, I wasn't lying. I think it was, what, £500 million in the one with Juventus. It was about 500 million, yeah, something like that. And then £200 million for the Manchester United one. I'm not lying when I say I haven't spent as much money. To be fair, we also haven't made as much money. So if we quickly go through the transfers that we've allowed out of the club. We let some of our youngsters go, and then the big transfers that went out were Dominic, who was going to be our first choice goalkeeper for £9.5 million. He has gone to Napoli. I think he'll do a decent job there. And Gabriel Paulista, probably our best defender, really. We've let him go. He's gone to Newcastle for, what was that, £15 million? £15 million it is indeed. Manu Vallejo also left. He went to Bayer Leverkusen for £5 million. He's worth a lot more than that now, which makes me sad. We also let Marcus Andre go because we didn't put him in our La Liga squad, and he wanted to go, so we let him go, and he has gone for £5 million as well. And then George Sainz has gone for £1.1 million. It is a split deal, so we've only got half of that money. The rest of it is going to be in instalments. Then getting their own back on me for all of the instalments that I tend to do. But as a result of that, what is that? That's what, 10, 25, 30, 35. About 35, 36 million pounds that we've made there. So we've spent a lot of money. We really have. And the club is not necessarily in the best financial position. This makes it look a lot better than it actually is. But if you look at the projection, it's not really that good. So that really does kind of speed up the idea that we need to really do a good job at this this save. I mean, the chairperson's put a lot. I mean, look at the amount of loans they've got. There's a lot of debt at this club. Oh, this would have been an interesting financial rebuild. Oh, I should have thought about that. Oh, well, never mind. That's one for the future. But all the more reason to do well this season. Obviously, we want to do as well in the league as we can. If we can get back into the Champions League, that I think is a must. Obviously, with the way that the finances are worked in La Liga, finishing high up in the league isn't necessarily going to do anything. But getting into the Champions League, that is crucial. So we want to be finishing in the top 4, absolutely. Ideally, I want to be finishing in the top 3 or 2. That'd be perfect. And I feel like with this squad, we do have the potential to do it. I mean, if we put our strongest squad in, it actually wasn't that hard to do. It was a couple of positions around. But as you can see, Livakovich at the back, Wendell Correa, Diakabi, Lorenze, and Guy as the defence. Guy has been really good so far as well, by the way, the club captain. Nandez, Soler, and Dominguez as the midfield. We've obviously got Nico on loan from Barcelona as well. He's done really good for us so far as well. He's looked pretty solid, to be fair. And then we've got Samuel Lino, Rodri, and Maxi Gomez. We do also have Yunus Musa, who is a I thought he was a bona fide wonder kid. He's not actually, but he's a very good player. He's got a decent amount of potential. But we've got him as an option on the wing. We've also got Castillejo, who's joined this season. He's been everywhere in his career, is what it feels like. To be fair, I say everywhere. He's been 4 clubs. It's felt like he's been a lot more places, but we've got him alongside Samuel Lino on that side, and then we've got Maxi Gomez up front with the backup of Kasper Dolberg. And again, we've got players like Hadji. We've got Uros Rakic, who's a good, solid midfield option, the Serbian. We've also got this guy, Dimitri. I'm not going to try and pronounce that surname. Dimitri is a backup right back. We've got Tony Lato as a backup left back. And then we've got this Guillamon guy who's a backup defensive midfielder and defender and central midfielder. So he can do a few options for us. And we've got a youngster here as well. And someone on loan who we couldn't register. So I think that's a good squad. I think we've done some good transfers. I think it's enough to get us in contention for the European places. Hopefully it's enough to get us in the Champions League places. But we're not going to know until we actually simulate forward. As I said, though, we have won the first 3 games of the league season. We're only behind on goal difference. Maxi Gomez is one of the top goal scorers in the league, one of the best players in the league. It's the Maxi Gomez show, basically. So we are going to accelerate forward. We're going to get to the halfway point of the season, roughly around the 1st of January, and we're going to see just how we have done in this first part of the season. So stick around, and I'll see you in a moment. I would argue that is probably as well as it could have gone so far. We're second in the league after 19 games played. We are 11 points behind top place Real Madrid, but that's still really good. I think we need to be really proud of that, actually. Second place, 14 wins, 2 draws, 3 losses. We're level on goal difference with Athletic Bilbao. Barcelona have got a higher goal difference than us. Other than that, it's Real Madrid with a lot more goals than anyone else. But a couple of shockers on the table. Barcelona and Athletic, 6th and 7th. That is a shock. I am very surprised by that. Almost surprised as I am to see us up in second, but I'll take it. I'll absolutely take it. I'm looking at the player stats. There aren't many of our players in here. We've got Jose Gaia with 12 assists because the man is absolutely insane. And Maxi Gomez with 5 player of the match awards, the joint highest in the league. So he is doing very well indeed. If we have a look at the squad, we have a look at the most appearances. It is Maxi Gomez who has started, from the looks of things, every game. We have had one other game other than the league, so I think it's the cup game. Yeah, so he's actually played in every single league game so far, Maxi Gomez. 11 goals, 3 assists, done a really good job. Jose Gaia, not far behind as well, 2 goals, 12 assists, really good. Livakovich, not done that well actually in the grand scheme of things. 19 appearances, only the 4 clean sheets, so we have been a bit leaky at the back. Worth keeping in mind. Dominguez, only with a couple of assists from the deep line playmaker role. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. Nathan Nandez doing a decent job as well. There's not a lot of players who are on high average ratings. So for us to be second, everyone else must be really bottling it. But I don't care how we get there, as long as we get there. And we do have a few unhappy players, actually, which is a bit of a concern. When I say a few, 7. That's a lot of unhappy players. So Mamadishvili, I'm going to assume it's going to be over game time. Yeah, absolutely. Kamer wants game time. Musa wants game time. He's only played 3 times, Musa. He's not going to develop like that. What is the game doing? What is the game doing? Rotate the players, please. Ianis Hadji as well. We signed him in, to be fair. That was always going to be a bit of a gamble. It's a shame to see that that one hasn't worked out. And Tony Lato, I mean, when Jose Gaia is in the form that he is in, Tony Lato is not getting into the team. That much is clear. And Senk Kaká, a player who we're realistically never going to use, not happy because he hasn't played much football. And to be fair, he's not registered for the team, so how is he going to play football? But that's all looking really good in terms of finances. All that's dropped a bit. We were in like 40 to 50 million before. That is a lot of money that's disappeared over the course of the season so far, but we're still in a profit for the season, which is absolutely baffling to me. The projections are still not very good, but again, I'm sure getting into the Champions League will solve that. So that's all looking really good. I'm really happy about it. We've got no Champions League or anything to look at, so we don't need to worry about it. We were knocked out in the first round of the... Is that the Copa del Rey? It is the Copa del Rey. We've been knocked out of this very early on, which is a bit disappointing. I imagine that the board wanted us to get as far. Yeah, they wanted us to get to the 5th round. Well, we're doing really well at everything else. So, you know, you win some, you lose some. Right, we're going to simulate forward to the end of the season. Let's see whether we can maintain this second place position in the league. I don't know whether we can. I'd like to think that we've got a good chance at it as we're there at the halfway point. Minimum, I want top 4. If we finish outside the top 4, I'm not considering this a success. But I feel like I'm setting myself up now. I mean, there is a massive collapse that could happen here. Fingers crossed it doesn't happen, but let's get through to the end of the season and let's see what happens. I wouldn't necessarily go with the word staggered, but I am genuinely surprised that we kept second. I'm being honest there. I thought we were going to fall away. I thought maybe we'd try and cling on to 4th, and that would do it, especially with the players that we had who were unhappy. Spoilers, still a few of those. But we've ended up hanging on to 2nd, and we've done it in some style. 8 points clear of Barcelona with 27 wins, 5 draws, 6 losses after 38 games. A goal difference of plus 34, 86 points on the table. 102 points for Real Madrid. I don't think it was a close run title race. But Real Madrid definitely deserve to win that one. But we definitely are very grateful at finishing 2nd. Atletico Madrid never recovering, really. Finishing in the Europa League spots, only 7th. In fact, it's not even Europa League. It's Conference League. They could not make it into the proper Europa League either. That's not ideal. And Real Betis actually taking that final Champions League spot. Sevilla and Athletic Bilbao missing out. And it's Barcelona who finished 3rd. So they did recover. So is that good to see? I don't really know. But they've done all right. They've done okay. As you can see as well, we finished 3rd in the top goal scorer charts. Maxi Gomez with 23 goals. Good effort from him as a target forward. And Jose Gaya, the only other player on any of these lists in the top 3, with 19 assists from fullback. That is pretty exceptional. Very interested to see how he has done this season. But that always is looking pretty fantastic to me. Very, very happy with how things have gone. If we have a look at the squad. In terms of appearances, I don't know why I did that because I knew it was already on the right thing. Maxi Gomez was the player who made the most appearances for us. 39 appearances in total, including 2 from the bench and 37 starts. We knew about the 23 goals. We didn't know about the 6 assists, but now we do. 6 assists as well. 29 goal contributions all told. Good job, Maxi. Livakovich doing the job as well. 37 appearances in goal, 13 clean sheets. So he did get better as the season went on. Soler doing a great job as well. 37 appearances all told. 16 goals, 3 assists. Would have expected more assists, but I'll take the 16 goals. That'll do for me. Great effort from a great player. Jose Gallo, again, we knew about the assists. 4 goals to add to that as well from 36 appearances. The captain did a great job for us. Diakabi was obviously one of our defenders of choice, getting the 1 assist in there, no goals. Dominguez, playing a lot of football, not contributing a lot in terms of goals. I imagine he would have been in a more defensively focused role. Obviously, the assistant manager had different ideas for him than I did. Nathan Nandez, similar story. 5 goal contributions to Dominguez's 4. But both of them playing a similar amount of football. As did Diego Lorenze, the other centre-back, I would imagine, doing a decent job, scoring 4 goals, getting 1 assist, good times. Correa, playing a lot of football, as did Samuel Lino. Nico, 21 appearances, 10 substitution appearances on top of those starts, getting a couple of goal contributions as well. Dolberg, not really doing as well as I thought he would have in terms of goals with the amount of games that he's played, but with the amount of games that Gomez has played, I imagine a lot of those would have been on the wing, so I think he's done a good job. Rodri surprises me. I would have thought he'd have played more than that. I'd have certainly played him more than that, but he's done what he can. Only a couple of goal contributions on either side of the goals and assists line, and not happy at the club, probably looking to leave. Can't really blame him. And then looking all the way down, you can see there's a row of players down here who are not happy with their position at the club. 7 players there not happy with how things are going, including players like Mamadishvili, who, when we came in, I didn't realise he was actually promised to be the first choice goalkeeper. Ian Asaji, who we brought in as well, not played at all well. But he's played 23 times off the bench, once on the start, scored 2 goals. I'll consider that a success then. But not happy looking to leave. Yunus Musa as well. How he has not played more than that with the potential he has got, I do not know. Tony Lato as well, not very happy. So I think, just thinking out loud here, if we were going to do a second season, which we're not going to do, I think at least these 3 would go. We maybe would consider Lato. We would maybe consider Ian Asaji as well. I would take that one on the chin, even though I know what he can do. And then maybe we'd move on someone like Castillejo. We might even move someone on like Carlos Soler, which I know sounds utter madness, but he's worth up to £60 million. He's got teams who are in for him. Newcastle and Bayern are in for him. And also, I imagine the financial situation isn't the best at the club. It's not as bad as I thought it would be, actually, but we are in minus numbers. Now, remember, there is a lot of debt and loans going on at the club, but we have got Champions League football next season, so money would come in. That would solve a lot of problems, or at least it would help a lot of problems. And a big sale like Carlos Soler, like 60 million, if we could even push that up even higher, that would really help as well, because some of it would come into here. Apparently 75% of it would. I would take half of it. I would take 30 million of the 60 that we'd bring in, and then we could reinvest that into the squad, bring in a couple of younger players who can grow into players similar to the ability of Carlos Soler and the other players that we'd sell, and I think that would really help the finances out. At the moment, it's obviously not looking good, but we know it can get better, and we know the Champions League would be a huge part of that. I want to look at the dynamics, because I imagine they're not the best, and indeed they're not. The club atmosphere is only average, kind of going downwards as well. But actually, the managerial support and the team cohesion are not bad. Considering the amount of players who are unhappy, we've done really well to finish second. Really well indeed. In terms of the other competitions, which basically means the Copa del Rey, I believe we already knew about. I think I mentioned it at the time, but we did get knocked out by Deportivo Alaves. So the majority of the season has just been us focusing on the league, and it shows, because we have done a fantastic job, and I think we have to be very, very proud of the job that we have done. We're the second best goal scorers in the league, we've got the fourth best defence, yellow cards with the fourth best, with the fifth worst red cards, and we've got the sixth best attendance. Marvellous. That is going to be the last rebuild, I think, on FM22, unless something dramatic happens. It's certainly the end of this one, but we are going to be going into Let's Go Villa, the FM22 version. Obviously, we had a couple of videos under that title for FM21 from the Twitch save, but this is going to be only on YouTube. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, but that is going to be the next video you will see on this channel, and hopefully you're going to enjoy it as much as I am looking forward to actually making it. So, with all of that said, thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do leave a like on the video and subscribe so you never miss any lovely FM content from yours truly. I've been Stubo, you guys have been awesome, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.